Welcome back to the Mind Body Project. Thanks for taking a little time to join me today. I have a special guest today. I have a author today. She has written a brand new book entitled "The Fence I Walk, the Childhood I Cherish." I'm excited for her today. I'm excited for this author because it is none other that I end every episode with about what I tell her every night. It's Bomb of the Ninth and Double A Out. And it is to my wife, Kim, who is our guest today, to talk about her new book, The Fence I Walk, the Childhood I Cherish. So thank you, Kim, for joining me today.
Thank you.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, we're just actually just set up in our house. So we are got everything out to set up in our house. And if you're watching on YouTube, you probably see our dog Tango right there behind us. So we're going to talk a little bit about kind of where the idea for the book came, and we're going to dig into the process a little bit because her process is very different, as you'll find out. But we'll talk about it a little bit. But welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So let's kind of talk about why. What's made up of the book? In other words, there's a lot. You knocked out 32 chapters?
Yes, it's all short stories. 32 short stories of just memories of my life growing up to about a little past junior high.
And where we're recording it right now is in our house, which is a tenth of a mile down from your house that you grew up in. But we're all in the same.
We're in the same pasture that we talk about in this book over and over. It's the same pasture that my memories happened.
And when did that? What's the earliest? Probably.
I think the earliest memory in there is around 1982, and so I would have been 8 years old. Yeah.
And her and I are much different because I don't have a very good memory. I just don't remember a lot from my childhood. And as you read her book, her memories are very detailed.
Very vivid, very detailed. Yes.
Very. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of stories in there that you shared with our kids.
Over the years.
Over the years.
They've heard
them. There's really not any new stories. And there might be one or two that they didn't know.
Yeah.
So what was really the purpose for, what did kind of this book start out as?
Well, originally it started out as a book just for our family, mainly for our kids and grandkids and for my mom. One for my mom because I wanted her to understand that I say all the time that I thought I had the greatest childhood ever. And I really do mean that. Like all of my memories, everything, all the stories that I share, I really do feel like, I was lucky to be able to have had that. And I wanted my mom to get to read those stories and know how much I appreciated how I was raised and the memories they gave us. Because I think, as I know now as a parent, you look back on the times when you did raise your kids and think it was just such a whirlwind and I probably could have done it better. I should have done this and I should have done that. And I didn't remember it that way. I just remembered it as being the best. And so as I would always tell those stories to you and to the kids and over to my mom, I wanted to always remember them and I wanted the kids to always have it because I think they're fun and funny. And I just wanted them to always, no matter whatever happens, that they would always have something in writing that they could look back and read. That's what my mom did.
And so many times we don't have, we share those stories with others, but we don't always write them down. They're not something that they can look back at a later day and go, oh, that's, and I think that's a real gift that we can give to our family, that you're giving to your mom and the kids, especially your mom. I think that you can, but you're right. As parents, I think I didn't do so good a job.
Yeah.
And I've told you numerous times as I read it and heard the stories that it's such a gift that you've given your mom to share with her how from your perspective, from your memories.
Right.
just as our kids have shared some of the things with us that um,
Yeah.
we think we didn't do so good, and they go, "Well, that was one of our best things, and we
Right.
enjoyed it."
Right. And there are a couple of things in there that she probably didn't know about. It might have been a little bit of a surprise to her. Some of those things that you think, oh, better not tell our parents that. She knows now.
It's
So
all out.
it's all out now.
And the fun thing is, I mean, as you know, you think of all those chapters, and I was thinking about the other day, and I thought there's uh, kidnappings in there. There
Yes.
is, gambling.
Uh-huh.
There's some drinking.
Uh-huh.
There's some motorcycle racing.
Yes.
There's some near-death experiences.
There is, and there's some teenage crushes, preteen crushes.
Preteen crushes. Yeah, I mean, it's got some love in it.
Yeah.
It's got some danger.
It's got it all.
It's got
And some whippings.
yeah, and almost a killing from the Oriental tool from your mom.
Yes. Yes.
That might involve a cat. It's one of my favorite stories.
It is.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So as we talk about the book, it just came out about a few weeks ago.
Yeah, at Christmas.
At Christmas. At Christmas, because it took. How long did it take you to write the book?
It took about 10 and a half, 11 months.
To write it.
So a whole year, almost a whole year.
And so as we talk about your writing style, all except for the very end when we had to put it into a document to be able to get how we need to get on Amazon and all that. How did you write the book? What did you do everything on?
I wrote the whole book on my phone. Everything was done from my phone.
Which we've talked about that. That's something I could have never done. From
in the Notes app.
In the Notes app, like yes. So when we had to get it all in like a Google document, I had to get you to move it from your notes into a Google document because the whole book was written in your notes.
In my notes.
From the dedication, from the
acknowledgments to
the chapter table of contents.
Yep, all of it was in my notes section with everything else in my life. Just in my notes section.
In your notes.
Yes.
If your phone had somehow messed up, you would have lost the whole book.
The whole book.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Good thing there's the cloud.
And really, it started out kind of when you initially started back in February of last year. You started making some like chapter headline titles. And you came up with what, 13 or 14?
Yes.
You said, I don't know if I have many more than this.
Yes. I tried to think of all the stories that I love and ideas. And then I put chapter ideas in my phone. And then, like you said, and I knew I had more. I just couldn't get them out. But as time went on, it would be like, oh, and I can remember this. And then, and the thing about it is I still have so many other stories, but even though I might have all those stories, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get a chapter because I might not can remember all the things that I need to remember for specific chapters. There were several things that we did that I would have liked to have made in the book, but I couldn't recall enough things to make it my own and present it the way it needed to be presented.
And when what was your primary goal for, as you thought of those stories, what was just the primary goal? I mean, really, when you wanted to write those stories down? Just
for our kids and grandkids and mom. I was not going, there was never an idea of I'm going to publish a book for the world to see my stories ever. That was not the idea.
Because really, as you wrote it down, and so really it kind of came out of, you wrote them down, so how are we going to get them in some kind of format?
Yeah, I'm just thinking I'm printing them all off and handing them to them in a folder.
So here you go.
There's some page protectors. But
3-ring binder even.
That would have worked.
Yeah.
Yes, I have recipe book like that. So I felt like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. I mean, you could do that. So this is kind of how I thought it would go. But when you live with someone such as Aaron Degler, and he says, I think that you need to make this a book. People will read it because
why did I tell you I thought people would read it?
Because you would come home at night and I would be so excited about a chapter that I wrote. And it would and this was kept secret from anyone. The
Yes, just
only
you and I were the only ones that
we
knew.
were the only ones that knew. So I could only talk to Aaron about it. And so I couldn't bounce ideas off of anyone but him. So he would work all day, come home late in the evening, and I would have to say, I want to read you this chapter that I made today. Because it might take me half the day to get my words into the way I want them to sound, because I wanted it to be authentically me with the exact language that I use to talk, which might be different than everyone else. I didn't want someone to read it and think, it's not even how, it's not her. There's big words in there. She would never use big words. So I wanted it to be me. He would come home in the evening and I would listen to the story, and some of the stories that I would read him would bring up such emotion from him, from sometimes of big laughter to many, many times of it ended in tears, with me either crying as I'm reading it or you crying as I'm reading to you, which would then make me cry. And you just felt so much emotion from it and started saying, I think you need to share this with people because I think it will resonate with others. About maybe they didn't plant 12 rows of okra, but they may have worked in the garden, and it would bring up those same memories.
And your feedback that you've gotten, because the book's been out for a few weeks, and those that have commented or messaged you or shared with you, what are they saying that it brings up?
Emotions and nostalgia and things from their childhood that maybe they had forgotten, or I can remember when I grew up in Bowie and we did this, and it just brings up all of their memories that they had too. And they may not be this, they're not, because they're not, but they're not the same memories that I have, but it can take them back to, just in the book, I talk a lot about the way like I can remember how my nanny's house smelled and how it felt. And I wanted to convey that in the book because, or walking into Don Carter Lanes in Fort Worth to go bowling, how it felt, how it smelled, and how it's kind of dark. And because I feel like when you use those words like that to describe all of the senses that you felt in that time, that's going to bring that up to the reader as well, and be able to go, what the skating rink smell like, things like that.
When you're a kid, really, and you said growing up in the 80s,
Yes.
and really we didn't have a whole lot of supervision, especially out here in the country where we live. It's like you go outside and
come back in
when it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from running around the pasture with snakes everywhere, running around the tank. Some might call it a pond, depending on where you live.
It's called a tank. But
we call it a tank, but
mm-hmm.
it's a body of water that you're jumping in, you're swimming in.
I mean, that was our swimming hole. That is where we swam.
There's no fancy swimming pool. It was.
Yeah, we weren't going to town on most days that we wanted to swim. Mom wasn't going to take us to town every time we wanted to go swimming, so we swam in the tank. We had a dock. It was like a diving board.
And so all those things, I mean, those that grow up in those times have those same memories. They're similar to how they did those things, and it's always nice. I always try to read, but I always say, this is going to be the year I read a book a month. And the year ends and I don't, and I've just come to kind of terms that I'm not a big reader.
Right.
It's just not how I take in information. But the one thing I do like about your book is they're each chapters. There's 32 chapters, and they're very short.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you can read a chapter, and within 5 to 8 minutes, and really the neat thing about it is if you follow the story, if you read each chapter in order, you get a sense of who Jerry Walker is.
Which is my dad.
Which is your dad. And he's always referred to in the book as Jerry Walker.
I mean, I call him my dad a lot,
yes, but when
it's usually Jerry Walker wasn't there to play. He was stern, and he was not going to raise some. He
wasn't going to raise
He was not going to raise some floozy. That was the goal. I'm not raising no floozy. And so, I mean, there were strict rules and different rules between my brother and I. My brother was 2 years older than I am. And he had a whole different set of rules than what Jerry Walker's daughter was gonna have rules, and there wasn't. I never thought of it as being, this is so unfair. Um, I think so much anymore, your society makes it be so politically correct, and you need to do this and you need to do that. But that's not the time that we were raised, and it was just a different time. And when I do refer to him as Jerry Walker, it really is for emphasis that he is the one that ran the house. And whatever the rules were going to be, they came straight from Jerry Walker, and that's the way it was going to be. And you weren't going to mess around with that, because you would learn real fast that you were going to be warned once.
And it's really the house that you grew up in, that it's dad went out to work every
Yes.
week, mom stayed at home.
Hmm.
When you, dad was gone some during the week, when he got home, if anything happened and y'all got in trouble, then you got in trouble again from dad.
You sure did.
And out came the belt,
Yep.
whack, whack,
Yep.
get in line.
And as I say in the book, he could, that belt would come off in a blink of an eye, and you knew you were fixing to get a whipping. But as I always say, and as I said in the book, there was not a single whipping that I don't think I deserved. I'm sure I earned every one. There might have been one, and I say that probably wasn't my fault. It was more Steve's, but
Your
I
brother.
won't count it. Yeah, I won't count it against my dad, because he just didn't know. But I am thankful and grateful for the way that I was raised. I think it molded me into who I am, and I'm appreciative of it. You know, we had that dad that was super strict and stern, and then my mom on the other side was, and even though dad was super strict and super stern, I was a daddy's girl, and I got all the love for him. I mean, he was even though he could be so strict, I mean, that's where I wanted to sit in his lap. I want to sit and watch TV with him, and I want to go and do these things with dad, because I was a daddy's girl. But my mom, she was the caretaker, and she was, it's still to this day, will love bigger than anyone in our family.
And as you read the book, like, if you can read individual chapters, you can mix around, but if you read them in order, if you read it from beginning to end, you get a real sense of who your mom was,
Yes.
who your dad was, how life looked out here on Jerry Walker Road.
Yes, before it was called Jerry Walker Road.
Before it was called Jerry Walker Road.
Yep.
What was it called before?
We were just a Route 1 Box 74 bait.
Just a route.
Yeah, we didn't. We didn't name the road until 911 came about. So then we had to name the road, and that's where it came from, Jerry Walker Road, because he lived out here the longest.
He was out here
yeah.
And that's how long we've been here.
Yeah. I've lived out my whole life. So
whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just and two, each story is ended too. Each chapter is ended with a little bit of a reflection.
Yeah, for the most part, I do think most of them are ended that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just a reflection on the story, and how it left you feeling.
Yes,
because it really is an emphasis on how you cherished it, and cherished it not only as a child, but now how you look back on it and see what it really meant, and maybe some of the lessons that you learned from those moments with your dad, that time with your mom, with family and cousins and everything, playing at holidays, and poker games going on, smoke being filled, drinking going on, hooting and hollering,
cigarette smoke. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. When I say I had where I think I had the greatest childhood, and I do, I stand by that. It wasn't just from my mom and dad and my brother and I and my sister when she was here. It was our whole extended family, my aunts and uncles and my cousins. Were a huge part of my life. Yeah. And we got together every holiday, and my cousin Mike and I were the youngest out of the ones that were there. And I just looked up to all of them, looked up to all of the older ones, and I just wanted to be like them. They took care of us. And, like you said, I mean, there could be an all night poker game going on in the living room of one of the houses. I mean, my aunt texted me today as she was reading it and said that she was surprised that we were just out gallivanting through the forest in the woods while they were inside playing poker. And she didn't, I mean, I know that they knew that at the time. It wasn't like we had snuck out but she said, I guess we just didn't even think about the snakes being out there and all that. I mean, we're just out in the woods. And she said, I told my son, I guess we were too busy trying to win money playing poker. I mean, they were having their time and we were able to have ours. And my cousins were just such a huge part of my life. We gathered for every holiday. And I think anymore that the world misses that, because when you get together now, it's rushed and there's phones and kids don't go out and play like they used to. And so there's that nostalgia of looking back at that and thinking the world was so simple then. We could go out in the woods and be out there for hours at a time playing some game we didn't even have a name for, but we made it up as we went. And that's how we spent the whole afternoon, where you won't see kids do that anymore these days. And it was just important to me. And it did. I mean, it's a huge part of my life.
And you want to do just give them to the kids and your mom, but now the world gets to read about your childhood, and
know who we all are,
and know who everybody is. And aside from that, because I did encourage you to publish it, to get it out for the world, because I thought it would make memories. And I think that's important too, because it was that's a big challenge for you to open up, to let others.
It is very big yes, because it's a lot to let people in and to know.
Because as we approached, the goal was to have it done by Christmas. To have it done, give it out to Christmas. And you had started back in February of last year, writing it, working on the stories. I'd come home, we'd go on vacation. Anytime in the car, you'd read me the stories, and I'd hear them.
And we were, I was knocking them out left and right.
Yeah,
those stories were getting done.
Yes, and I'd come home and you have a new story, and then a couple of days later you have another story, and as we kind of got closer to November, we had a wedding. Things got a little bit busy with the holidays, and things started to slow down. And you still had a couple more chapters to do. You still had those stories. You had a few more things to kind of finish it up. And again, the goal was, and at this point, we still had to get it formatted to be able to submit to Amazon.
We couldn't just put it in the page protectors.
No, we couldn't just print it out. I mean, it still needed a process to get this done.
As I took Christmas. Some time off.
But of course we were having weddings and different things for holidays. But then following that is what I'm kind of getting to, is that some of your anxiety that overwhelms you sometimes.
It made me stop.
It made you stop.
Yes. And I had luckily told a couple of people, my friends, that I, like a couple of weeks before.
Yeah,
probably.
I think we're at a Friendsgiving.
We were Friendsgiving, and I had told them that I was going to surprise my family with a book.
Because at that time we were kind of going.
Yes.
We were kind of right on track. We needed to get a couple more chapters done.
And then I have a couple of things. I have a habit of just quitting things when I'm done. I'm just going to quit it and leave it. And
not when you're done.
when I'm
when
done.
You're done.
Not when the project's done. When I'm done, I'm just going to go. I'm done with that now. So that's my life in anything, hobbies, anything. I'm going to do it. And then done. Or I'm going to eat this food every single day for 5 years and then I'm going to walk away. I'll never eat it again. And so I know that about myself, that I'm a quitter. And that was my hesitation to doing the book to start with, because I was afraid I would quit, which is another reason why I didn't want to tell anyone, because I didn't want to be held accountable to anybody but you. So at Friendsgiving, we had told our friends that I had wrote a book, and then I had to say, well, I'm not actually finished with it yet, but I plan to be,
done.
yeah. And I quit, and I just couldn't do it. I knew I had about 3 or 4 more chapters, and I knew that. And I knew all I had to do was just to sit down and do them, but it seemed so overwhelming to me. And at that time I had thought, even if I got the chapters done, I don't think that we could get the process done in time. So we weren't going to be able to do it and have it as a huge surprise and a unveiling at Christmas that I wanted to do. So then I decided to stop, and I just couldn't even think of it. I didn't want to do it. And Aaron would ask me, how is the book coming along? And I'd be like, yep, I still have a couple more chapters to get. And I would just keep telling him that over and over. I would just say, yeah, I just have a couple more chapters to get. Never changed in number because I wasn't doing anything about it. And then my friend Crystal sent me a couple of texts saying, are we going to get the book done in time for Christmas? And it was at that moment that I thought, you just go. You have to start again. So it took a lot, because when I get overwhelmed, I'm just going to be done. I don't want to do it.
You
So
kind of shut down.
Yeah. And so
with that project, whatever
it is, it doesn't, could be the day. It doesn't necessarily mean a project. If the
day
day seems overwhelming, I'm going to quit it. I don't want to do it. So I won't. And so that's why it was a huge deal to finish. And so once I looked at my chapter ideas again and figured out, okay, if I could just pull from these that I know for sure I have enough in me to get that done. And then we started checking on, Aaron started checking on all the process to get it published. And then he kind of was like, okay, well, we need this and I need you to get, and then I was like, oh, we're going to have to start.
I gave you some deadlines. We got to have it by this.
Yes. So I had to start getting it all into Google Docs, because he was like asking things that I didn't have. And so that's what we did. And then here she is.
Here she is. And so it really,
and the surprise and unveiling happened.
And it did all get done. It was a very tight schedule. We barely got it all done within a few days. That we got the book and got it, in our hands. And because, of course, again, at the holidays, Amazon's a little slower.
It was a lot
was
slower.
Taking along. And so it was just a real process. But kind of want to share that end process, because I think so many people that can relate to that of overwhelm, of shutting down. And it really is sometimes the importance of others to help encourage us to believe in that we can get done. Because as if you can get the book on Amazon, if you're watching YouTube, you see the book here next to us. That was everything from front to back. Was your creation, from
everything,
from the cover to the title to just every
and
word
every part of that cover is intentional.
Yes, every part's very intentional. It has a meaning. As you read the story, you'll understand the little girl, the 3-wheeler, the fence, the house, just the dirt road, just everything in there. It really summarizes the story. And you think, well, why put a 3-wheeler on a cover? But the 3-wheeler shows up a lot. The 3-wheeler is a main character.
And even if I had a little typo about the 3-wheeler, if you read it, it says it was a Suzuki 50. It was not. It was a Suzuki 125.
Wow.
So if you're reading that and thinking, how's all this happen on a little bitty 50? It didn't. It happened on a 125. I just had my numbers mixed up. And sometimes when you're on a deadline, you don't have time to be like, oh, hang on. Because we there were some issues at the end, and we had to chop chop.
We had to get it, and from editing to everything, you
I,
I mean, there's
it was
nobody
all me
editing, reading it. I mean,
because I
I
couldn't
basically
share it
right.
with
I
anyone.
basically took everything you gave me, and we submitted to be able to get it in the form we needed it to submit it to Amazon and everything.
Because I didn't want any of my words to be changed. So I know that the process of writing a book is you then have people read it and then they're going to give you their opinions. And I understand that. And that might have, helped in the little misprint there, but I didn't want my words to be changed because again, I don't use big words to talk. My vocabulary isn't of a, highly educated person. It's just not who I am. I'm a very basic person that has very great memories. And so as our daughter said after she read it, it was like sitting across talking to you. Like everything in there sounded just like you. But it almost didn't happen because it shut down. So
that's exactly how you wanted to portray it. You wanted it to sound as you read the stories. As you read the stories, and if you talk to you go, okay, that's the same person. That's the same person
in all her awkward glory.
Yeah, in all of her awkward glory. You may not see some of the awkwardness in the writing, but if you talk to her in person, sometimes in her head she may be talking to you. It's don't be awkward, don't be awkward, don't be awkward. But it was a process, and it's one of those things that it's an amazing thing that you can do now that you can write a book. You can get those thoughts you want. There's a bunch of different tools to help with that, to get that done, and it's possible.
It is.
And we got it done with days to spare.
We did.
Our plan was to wrap it, and everybody opened it up at Christmas. All of our family.
Yes, and I think a couple of our kids knew for sure that I had been working on something. A project is what I would tell them. I got to work on a project today. They'd be real careful with my words because I didn't want any. So they kind of knew I was working on something. They didn't know what it was. So they knew that there was going to be a surprise. My mom had no clue. And it became very, very hard because as we sat and I have Margarita Monday and with my friends
not every Monday, but once a month.
Well, we might change it to every Monday.
It seems like every Monday.
That is a good idea. And to hear them this past week as we talked about it, and they said I have within this last year told many of these stories to them at Margarita Monday, but it never dawned on them until they read it. Like she was telling them because that was in my head fresh because I'm working on it. And that would be the same way with my mom because I did tell my brother, he had read a couple of chapters before because I needed to be able to say, like, was this, and my brother has a memory like you do. He doesn't remember a lot of things, but I needed to be able to say, do you remember when we did this or that? And so I had told him towards the end as well that I was working on it, but I had to work through those thoughts so as I would talk to my mom on the phone daily and we might bring something up and it would be so hard not to let it out back, but we didn't, and we surprised them all.
We did. And it was very exciting when you have an idea, and it's just an abstract and it's an idea, and then you start putting those into words, you start putting them in your phone. And then when we got it to how we needed it all together, and we got to see it kind of in a format that looked like a book format to submit to Amazon, and then once we got it in our hands, it was like, this is real.
Like I wrote all the words in here,
and it's forever down. And then it became even harder because we probably got it about 3 or 4 days before Christmas, before we had our Christmas.
Yeah, we got it 3 or 4 days before Christmas, but we had our Christmas after Christmas.
Yeah.
So.
And then it was really hard because now we had it in our possession.
All of them.
And it was really even harder to keep quiet because you just wanted to tell everybody and let them read those stories. Just because it's a lot of fun. And as many mentioned, you get to laugh, you get to cry, you get that sense of nostalgia, you get that sense of memory of maybe when you were a kid in the 80s or 90s, or when you had family like that. It just and it brings all sorts of memories back.
It does. And sometimes you laugh and cry at the same time in the same chapter.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
And as we record this, you can get on Amazon. It is an ebook and hardback and paperback,
Mm-hmm.
and we will be working on within the next week, getting it on Audibles.
Yes.
So hopefully
in my voice,
in your voice,
yes.
yes. So from the time of this recording, hopefully in the next month,
yeah.
As we record this,
and tell them
the second week of January.
What happened on my little sample. What did you tell me after when you listened to my little sample we were sending in for Audible?
So again, we have to find somebody, because it's a whole process, and we're not. Sometimes that's beyond our scope,
right.
And so it's quicker sometimes just to have somebody do that, format it together, and be able to submit it. So I found a freelancer that could take what you record, put it in the right formats and all that to submit to Audibles. And as I listened to it after they sent it back to me, I told you, kind of loosen up, kind of like just like you were reading it to me at the kitchen table or in the truck when we're going somewhere. Just read it to me naturally.
Yeah, just read it like you would read it to me.
So this past week, what have you been practicing?
I've been practicing reading my book out loud again.
I've been reading my words.
I've been reading my words. And because when I would read it to you at night, I would be so excited because just retelling the story out loud from the words that I wrote was like reliving that every time. And it is emotional. Again, my dad's not alive anymore. My dad passed away in 2005. And so it is emotional for me because those memories wouldn't have existed without him. And he's the reason why I have them. Him and my mom. And so to then get to relive that it is just emotional. But to be able to tell it to you after I've wrote a story, I get, the poker night stories, I was so excited to read that because I wanted you to hear the excitement that I have in it. Or the last chapter in the book about the fence, it's emotional. And I could, while I was reading it to you, it's naturally coming out what my emotions are. But as I read it to the world, I feel like I need to
be all prim and proper. So
on day 6, no, and I gotta take a breath.
Yeah,
put myself back there.
So it's a process.
It is a process.
It's work.
It's work. And when I first started writing the book, we were doing book club at that time, and we talked about journaling. And I said that this was the probably biggest form of journaling I had ever done because so many of my stories, as I wrote them, I realized why I'm the way I am about a lot of things. Not that I think, oh, I had the best childhood. I'm just saying that I can take a step back now and go, that's why I like that. Or that's, why I'm that way about that. And I felt like it did some good.
And that's a good point. I mean, journaling, it kind of turned into a form of your journaling by telling your stories and sharing. And it's a good way to reflect, because sometimes, again, when we just think about them, I think it has a different impact on us. But when we write them down,
I think the biggest one of that was the story I wrote about my mom waiting on my dad. And that always was a trigger for me to be like, make him do his own things. He can make his own play. From the time I was a little girl, always being like, literally let him make his own play. I will never do that. I will never do that. And she waited on him and us all her life.
And chapter, I'll never wait on a man.
Yes. And she still does that today. She will still do that. But I never put it together ever, because I always told her I would never do that. I will never do what you're doing. And I didn't put it together until I was writing that I do those same things. I don't necessarily, well, I do make a plate. I don't,
It, yeah.
it's different though. It's not, you don't sit down and be like, I'm home.
So in your reflection, as you wrote that, why do you believe then that your mom did that?
Because at that point, I realized she wasn't doing it because she had to. She did it as an appreciation for him going to work every single day for over 40 years to the same job, and her staying at home with us and being a stay-at-home mom. And I felt like at that point I could take a step back and see myself in that. And it's more of an appreciation of, I get to stay here and raise our family and do all the things here while you are gone providing for us. And it was probably her way of just appreciating him like I appreciate you. We don't have kids at home and
Anymore.
And I get to be a stay-at-home wife. And so I want to do those things to help make your life easier because you've worked all day. So I think that was such a big moment for me to be like, oh, I do those. I do that. I didn't quite realize that I said I would never do that, and I do.
And then through that, I mean, it was really started out as a gift to give back to our kids and to your mom and family, but I think too as a gift to yourself.
A big one. Mm-hmm.
At 51, to go, now I kind of see some things. I kind of realize.
Can see myself there.
Mm-hmm.
I can see some of the things that I did that weren't quite what I should have done, or celebrate the things that I did that I'm proud of. My dad instilled a huge work ethic in both Steve and I, and because he, like I said, went to work every single day, and you just stayed at your job and you did your work, and he was a hard worker, and he had us work hard. I mean, we worked hard out here, and
but also there was an amazing balance. There's a lot of fun.
There was a lot of fun
because you said he was always the first one to the party. He was always the first one to have fun and joke.
We didn't get to the high school years and the after high school years. We had good times out here because he wanted to be in the middle of all the partying. We didn't get to that. We won't. But he enjoyed us. He wanted all the kids to come here. We had a good time. Just
like when there was a snow day. Who loved it the most?
He did. Let's go out in the snow, or let's go pull cars out in town that, got off the side of the road. He had the most fun doing those things. And there was a lot of work. And yes, there was a lot of rules. And yes, I couldn't talk to boys on the phone. But it gave us a lot of values and work ethic and structure, but also at the same time, a balance, because we had a good childhood and we had a good time. Always
was fun.
It was always, yeah. I mean, we might not have laughed at the time,
but you look back.
Yeah.
And sometimes interesting things is sometimes mistakes come out to turn out really good things. We talked about finalizing the book. We had talked about that title. You and I had The Fence I Walked, The Childhood I Cherished, and it was on that cover.
What is the title?
The Fence I Walked, The Childhood I Cherished. And so real quick, to share a little bit of our awkwardness sometimes, just before we started recording, we had a lady come and we were selling something off Marketplace, and so she was picking it up. And a stranger, and she comes in and into where we have all of our podcasts, all of our setup. And
with these big lights.
We got big lights here in front of us. All this, I mean, it's a whole production here. And she goes, "Oh, what are you doing?" And Kim says, "Well, I just wrote a book." And she said, "Oh, well, what's the title?" And then Kim says, "The Fence I Walked, The Childhood I Treasured." And I'm in the other room going, "No, that's not it. That's not the title of your book." And then she, thank goodness, catches it. She goes, "No, that's not right."
But why do I have trouble with the title?
So, because going back, that was the original. That is the name.
It is.
The Fence I Walked, the Childhood I Cherished. And so we worked on that cover, the title, everything. The last, what you'd sent me was that, what we talked about. And so we sent it to get all compiled.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it and go, that's not the title.
It's not the title of my book.
Huh? I said, that's what we talked about. You said, no, it's supposed to be just the Childhood I Cherished.
Yes.
Like,
which is what it is in my head.
Which is what it is in your head.
Yes.
So if you ever talk to her and she says, and you ask her what the name of the book is, she's going to say The Childhood I Cherished.
Because I renamed it. I forgot.
And you renamed it, never told me.
And I forgot. I forgot to tell him that I changed the name and I just wanted it to be The Childhood I Cherished. But The Fence I Walked is very important in the story, which is what we came up with in the beginning. But then I decided it seemed wordy and I wanted it to just be The Childhood I Cherished. But I forgot to tell you before you turned all the papers in.
Yeah.
So all the papers.
So we turned it all in. And she had put The Childhood I Cherished in all the copyright, all the different places. So then we had to change everything back.
Everything. Because it was going to be more work to change the cover to everything I had changed inside than it was just to go in and change all the copyright and all that on the inside.
So this is the name it almost wasn't.
Yes.
The Fence I Walked, the Childhood I Cherished. Yeah. And the Fence I Walked is just an important part of
the last chapter.
Of the last chapter, which I think is just the best.
That was intentionally the last chapter.
Mm-hmm. And it's just the best, and that's where the beginning of the title is.
Yes, yes. And also on chapter 25 is a Christmas chapter. There are several Christmas chapters, but that wasn't intentional. Somehow I just randomly, and happened. As I was reading the book after we got it, I was like, chapter 25 is my Christmas, one of my Christmas stories. It's not Jim Beam Santa, but it's how much I cherished Christmas. But it should have been Jim Beam Santa. That would have been better. Anyway.
What the name of the book?
No, chapter 25.
Oh.
Jim Beam Santa. It's not Jim Beam Santa, but that is a chapter.
That is about yes.
About my Jim Beam Santa.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really, I mean, there was a lot of funny moments, a lot of stressful moments as we were getting close to the end and getting it published and getting it done.
And I'm blessed to have you to do all that, because they would have gotten it in a sheet protector, because I was like, that seems like a lot of stuff that I wouldn't do myself.
But as we talk about all the time, how do we do all that stuff? We had to first get you to write it, and then we just took it one step at a time.
It's one step
at a time. And it really is, as we talk about a lot of times and all the different things that we do, it was just an idea.
It was an idea. One day that I just randomly pulled out. That
was in your head. Mm-hmm. And through the process over the year, it is now something, and that's what's so powerful, is that sometimes our ideas just stay there, but sometimes we can get them out in concrete into the world. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, what this is. It came from your mind and your thoughts and your childhood and your past, and we got it through the process. We're able to take something that was just an idea, and put it out so others can read it.
Yes.
And we hope, because memories are wonderful, because they all elicit a feeling. And in this, you'll, the hope is, and I don't want to speak for you, but that you'll smile about something that happened in your childhood. And yes. It may not have been a great childhood. It may have just been one thing to go, I like that.
I went to the skating rink too when I was little, and I enjoyed that.
Or I had cousins I played with, or I had a brother that,
yeah,
we wrestled and we had a good time.
Yeah.
We figured out what.
Or I remember when
Christmas
we got
was.
Yes. Or I remember when we got a V8. What is that called? VCR. Yeah. Or
VHS goes in the VCR.
Yes. Or I remember when we got our own phone line, or got our own phones in our bedroom, or all of the things that were so 80s. And even, I've had even not that generation reach out, but even the older generation that has said, it was my same childhood, just a generation before.
Hmm.
theirs were. So
And you're right. It's really one of those that it goes across generations.
yes, and I had someone else say that they read it to their kids that are like younger than our kids, whatever generation that is, and
I get confused over the letters.
yeah, it's like L. No, it's not. But and she even said that they felt like it was like reading a chapter of Stranger Things. Now I don't know what that is, but it's some kind of show, and evidently maybe it's set kind of maybe in the 80s or something. I don't really know, but I did think that's funny because every generation you can pull something out, and even if it's the young kids now look at that and think, "Oh my gosh, how did you live like that?" But it was the best.
It was the
It
best.
was simple.
It was just a different time of life,
Hmm.
and it was good.
Hmm.
It was good. And I'm proud of you for
Thank you.
writing it and coming up with the
And
stories
not stopping.
and not stopping and
Yeah.
finishing and getting it out. And exciting news as we within a couple of weeks, January 23rd,
Yes.
at 6 p.m., we are going to have a book signing.
Hmm.
A book signing at M2B Fitness,
Hmm.
at 206 North Smash Street.
Yes.
So if you
I
bought
will
a
be
book,
signing, and
um,
I will probably say something awkward.
and so if you bought a book, you can bring it there and she can sign it. We'll have a limited number of books on hand to sell.
Mhm.
And some of our ladies at M2B mentioned that it might even be cool if she read a chapter. So we're going to see if we can talk her into reading a chapter of maybe out of her book. They thought that all be pretty neat, so we're going to try to do that. But that'll be January 23rd at 6 p.m.
Mhm.
We will have a book signing, meet and greet, and just be a fun time
With some snacks.
with some snacks because
Sound like a snack.
because we like snacks. We like snacks and drinks.
Mhm.
It's a thing that makes our world go round.
Mhm.
Um, is there anything else you want to share about the book?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, I think you shared it.
I
I think
told you
you
I wouldn't
shared it
ask
all.
you any
Yeah. Any
questions you
hard
didn't know the
questions?
answer to.
Uh-huh.
Any hard
You
questions?
didn't ask me the
Um,
title. I would have had to do this. Settle.
so, what is the title and where can they get it?
The fence I walked in the childhood I cherished. The fence I walked, the childhood I cherished. And you can get it off Amazon.
Amazon ebook, paperback, and hardback, and coming soon. Hopefully, hopefully probably by the middle of February, you can get it
Mhm.
on Audibles and hear you read it,
Or you can get it at the book signing.
or you can get
A
it at the book
limited
signing.
number.
Limited, yeah, we'll have a limited supply there to pick up. And please, if you get it, leave a review on
Please
Amazon.
leave a review
Um,
because I've sold a bunch of books and I have 7 reviews.
mhm.
Because I think that if they review it, then Amazon will push it out more.
It's really because our heart is we want people to feel that.
I do, and I don't want it to just be like in our community. I want the world to be able to feel those same emotions. Um, we joke a lot about our generation when we grew up about how you just sweep that under the rug. We'll just we don't even know. And when we did. I mean, we didn't do touchy feely feeling moments growing up in our generation, but we had great moments. And I think no matter you can read the book and find that great moment that you had. Um, I think that's important.
And the world just needs more of that. It
The
needs
world needs
more.
more joy.
It needs more joy, and that is really our hope. I mean, that's really one of the reasons too. I encourage you to share it with the world.
It makes you feel good.
It makes you feel good.
And it's an easy, short read, and you can read it quickly. You could do it like Chicken Soup for Soul, pick it up and read chapter whatever at any time, and then go back and read a different chapter. It's just, and I feel like it's a lot like Chicken Soup for Soul books if you were back in the 90s. Um, it just makes you feel good. Every story, I think, gives you a feel good feeling.
And those that reach out to you say the
They
same thing over
say
and over.
that.
It's not just you because it's your
because
memories.
I wrote it and it's my
Yes.
memories.
Yes.
It is my memories, and I did write it, but that's not the reason why.
And our biggest reason is for sharing this, for doing the podcast is, would we like a few dollars? Sure. but really the
I'm
big
a stay-at-home wife.
what else
Support
am I
me.
going to
Well,
do?
yeah, I mean, I'm
but
not me. I mean,
but it really is to make the world, if we can do something, that we put something out in the world that makes it a little bit better, and even for the moment, the 10 minutes while you're reading a chapter,
yeah.
you can feel a little bit better, or have a smile on your face, or laugh, or a little tear of joy. I just think it makes that moment better.
Yes.
And I think we all have little parts of our lives that we do cherish, and then we
Yes.
hope that this maybe ignites a little bit of that, and puts a smile on the
Hmm.
faces, because we just need that more in the world.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so go to Amazon, get it,
Leave a review.
leave a review. Like I told you, I'm not a big reader. It took me 2 hours, I think, to read.
Yeah.
Um, and I just love reading. I can't wait till Audibles, and I get to listen to
Yeah.
your voice,
Yeah. I
and
mean, I wrote it, and I
and you still, like, I come
still,
home, and I see
I
the book
still read
poster.
it.
I said, "What are you doing?" I'm reading my book,
I
because it
like
makes you
the way it
happy.
makes me feel. Hmm. Hmm.
And then you joke and say, "I'm practicing reading so I can do it for Audibles."
That's right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, um, do us a favor, go pick it up. Do yourself a favor and go pick it up on Amazon, in any format that you choose.
And tell me your favorite chapter,
Yeah, and
because no
share.
one's really ever said, "I love the chapter about."
I mean, hands down, mine's about the Oriental Tool.
I know it is.
I mean,
I
and your
know it
mom
is.
giving the cat the Oriental Tool is the best chapter there is.
It is. It
It's
is
good,
funny.
but there's a lot of great chapters, and I mean, some of our kids have said different ones resonate with
Yeah.
them. So it'd be neat to reach out. And they can if they have comments or thoughts, they can message you on Facebook. That's the
Hmm.
best place. TikTok.
Hmm. TikTok. I'm
They
on
can find
TikTok.
they can find you on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
daily on TikTok.
One of her big things too is cleaning and clutter and getting rid of all that. And so if you want some, you can follow her on TikTok, and you have a lot of. Sometimes you get to see her awkwardness on TikTok.
Dude.
It just comes out in the videos, but you get a better sense of who she is, and what she does. And we just would love for you to go get the book, for yourself to enjoy. Give it as a gift, just because it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's quick and easy, and
Be this
enjoyable.
the gift you give in 2026.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
I did say those
Yeah,
words
you
the
said it
right
right.
way.
Yep, yep. The Fence I Walked, The Childhood I Cherished. Get your copy on Amazon, or join us on the book signing,
Hmm.
January 23rd at 6 p.m. at M2B Fitness in Bowie. So, any final thoughts?
Nope. Thank you
Okay,
for
you're
giving me a
welcome.
moment.
Thank you. I think Tango left us. So,
No, he's right behind
oh,
me.
okay, he's right behind
Yeah,
us. So,
he's moved.
yep. So if you watch this, you can see Tango. You can see all the fun stuff. So, but thank you to each of you for joining us. I usually say as I tell my wife, but as I tell my wife Kim every night before I go to bed, it's Bomb in the Night, double A, out.